Okay, everyone, this might be the biggest issue that couples are facing in the modern day, and that is high desire versus low desire relationships. How much sex does a couple want to have? That's what we're tackling today. Hey, I am Allie. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and head of relationships at Paired, the app that brings couples closer. And today we are doing a Q&A all about high desire, low desire relationships. So if you've ever felt like your sex drives just don't line up, or like you're stuck between feeling guilty, resentful, or rejected, you are so not alone. One of the most common struggles couples face is mismatched desire. But let me be clear, a difference in libido is not a relationship problem. The problem is when no one is talking about it. And today I'm answering real questions from my audience about navigating high and low desire dynamics, whether you're the higher desire partner or the lower one. These aren't one-size-fits-all answers, but they will help you communicate better, connect more intentionally, and reduce the guilt resentment spiral that keeps so many couples stuck in this situation. So quick, before we dive in, if you are ready to feel more connected emotionally and physically, the Paired app is like a daily relationship check-in that actually works. Expert-backed prompts, fun games, and bite-sized tools to stay close even when life is busy. The link is in the description if you want to try it. All right, let's get into these questions. Okay, here's a question. I don't feel like he's attracted to my body. Is it unrealistic to hope that I'm the most attractive person to him? Of course, it's valid to want to feel deeply desired by your partner. This is a really vulnerable question. You should expect that your partner has eyes for you and finds you attractive, but it is unrealistic to expect that they don't find anyone else attractive. We're all human. It's normal to see a beautiful person and think, oh, that person's attractive. But that doesn't mean that they should act on that, or that they should be commenting on that in front of you, or that they should be entertaining those thoughts for very long in their mind. There's a big difference between saying or thinking, oh, that's an attractive person, or then looking them up, or then trying to talk to them, or then commenting about it in front of you. Those things are disrespectful. No, it's not unrealistic to hope that your partner finds you the most attractive person in their life because they have eyes only for you because they're committed to you, but it is a little bit unrealistic to think that they would never find anyone else attractive. I also want to note that attraction is complex. It's going to shift with time and emotion and stress levels and hormone levels. You will probably go through an attraction crisis at some point in your relationship where you go a couple weeks or a couple months thinking about your partner like, they're not that cute right now. That's actually normal. It's really, really normal in long-term relationships. It doesn't mean the relationship is doomed. So if you are in maybe an attraction crisis right now, know that there are ways to get out of it. You just have to be intentional. Go on dates, start kissing again, get some new cologne or perfume or whatever, and try and spruce things up a little bit. But it's okay if you feel like a little stagnant right now. Another thing you can ask yourself is, do I feel cherished? Do I feel like he initiates connection with me? That might be more important than him constantly telling you how beautiful you are. And then another thing that you can talk about is what makes you feel desirable. So let him know, hey, when you do X, Y, and Z, I feel really desired by you. And that really is special. That turns me on. So if it's compliments or if it's something else, let him know what that thing is so that he can be conscious of doing more of it. Here's our question. He's verbally committed to meet me where I'm at, higher desire, but life's be lifing. How can he show me? I love this. Life does be lifing, but intimacy doesn't always have to mean long nights of passion. It's about showing up in the little ways. And there are certainly ways to show that you are attracted to someone and have little sexual moments that aren't, hours-long sex in bed. Even if life is lifing, there are certainly ways to spice it up, and here are a few ideas. So if you want him to show you that he is trying to meet you where you're at, ask for specific behaviors. Let him know what that means. Is showing you making out? Is showing you cuddling with you? Is showing you putting away his phone? Is showing you giving you a massage? There are a lot of different ways that he could show you, even in the midst of a stressful life, but he needs to know what those are. Because if he just thinks that all you want is more sex, that might feel really overwhelming to him. So you need to be more specific about what small things that would be easier to do during a chaotic life would actually help you feel more desired. And then he has a list of things he can go to so that he can try and show you that commitment. I also want to note that Responsive desire, the type of desire that occurs after you've already started some sort of intimate experience together, can really fade when people are more stressed out. And so if life is lifing and he is just feeling extremely stressed, it's fair to say that his desire levels may just be decreased right now. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with him, but it means that it's time for you to turn to him and say, hey, how can I support you? What could I take off your plate so that you have more capacity to feel excited about sex or intimacy, to feel more aroused? Like, are there ways that you can support him in creating an environment where it's easier for him to meet you where you want to be at? And then, of course, I'm going to recommend that you guys consider using the Paired app to stay aligned, because sexual connection is fueled by emotional connection. And so if you are connecting every day with the daily question or, the little couples games, it takes 2 minutes or less. That can really increase the connection you feel, even when you have to go a few days or weeks at a time without being intimate. Next question, in what other ways can couples connect during periods of low desire? One of my favorite things to recommend to couples who are experiencing low desire period is to spend more time playing together. That sounds a little silly, like what does that mean? We're adults. But turn on some music and dance together, or watch some comedy together. Like, actually do things together that will make you laugh, because physical intimacy releases so many amazing hormones and endorphins, but so does laughing, so does joy. And so if you are in a period where you have low sexual desire, focus that energy on just creating a more playful environment, so you're still getting that dose of endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, all that stuff, just without the sexual stuff right now. Another way you can connect during a period of low desire is to still have skin-to-skin contact, but just be very explicit about it not leading to anything more. Some couples feel like, well, I don't want to offer naked cuddling, or I don't want to offer a massage because then I'm going to feel pressure that it has to lead to something else, which I'm just really not into right now. But it doesn't have to if you've communicated about that. So sit down with your partner and say, hey, I know this is kind of an off period for us, but I still do want to maintain our physical closeness and connection. Could we have an agreement for a week that sex is off the table, but we're still going to do other things to stay physically close, like making out, like cuddling naked, like whatever it is. That way you can go into those activities without feeling this pressure and just really be able to enjoy them and enjoy that time with your partner. Here's our next question. I want every 72 hours and he wants every 24. I worry he'll resent me long term. I'm laughing just because for so many couples that I work with, that is very often. So I'm happy for you that you have such a vibrant sex life. But I understand the fear of resentment. Desire mismatches aren't inherently doom and gloom, but they can lead to resentment when you don't have regular discussions about these things. So your fear makes sense, but I don't think it has to. I think what you need to do is really just talk to your partner about this. Don't sweep things under the rug. Don't avoid these conversations. Actually continue to have the conversations often. I think resentment can be prevented when the higher desire partner feels seen and understood and not just shut down or rejected. So I would be really curious with your partner about why is sex so important to them and what about it feels so special. And some of you are watching thinking that should be obvious. If you even have to ask that, there's a problem in your relationship. But actually, no, sex can mean different things to different people. For some people, sex is like a really, really emotional, amazing experience. For other people, it's more of a physical release and helps them relax physically, relax their bodies, relax their minds. So it can mean something different to different people. So I would talk to him and say, why is it that you want it every 24 hours? Based on what he says, the reason is, are there other ways that we can meet those needs that don't always include sex? Because for me, that feels like compromise. I don't want you to feel resentful and I don't want me to feel resentful. So are there other ways that we can meet those needs that don't include sex every day? Okay, one more thing for that question too is talk together about what is your definition of sex? Like, does sex always have to mean orgasm? Or could sex mean something else? The next question is very similar to the last one. How do I avoid intimacy feeling like an obligation and unintentionally creating resentment for the low desire partner? I'm grateful you're asking this because obligatory intimacy is always bad news. If someone feels like it's an obligation, the resentment will grow you will become disconnected. They will actually develop a nervous system response that causes them to flinch or you get upset every time you go to initiate sex because their brain has been conditioned to think this is an obligation. It's something that I don't want to do. And we don't want to go there. Okay. We really want this to feel like a choice, mutual consent every time that you are being intimate with each other. That being said, you don't want to have obligatory sex, but there is something called maintenance sex that is important to think about. Maintenance sex is the kind of sex where both of you feel like it's been a while. We know this would be good for our relationship. We might not be 100% in the mood, but it's okay to have sex from a place of, I care about our relationship and I want to maintain our connection. And so I'm going to do this. It's not going to be amazing every time. Think about it like working out or going to the gym. A lot of times you don't want to go to the gym, but you feel better after you do it and you're maintaining your good relationship with your body. I'm not saying have sex when you absolutely don't want to. But I am saying if it's something that you would probably be grateful you did, you're probably going to enjoy, you're probably going to reap the benefits of flexing that muscle, literally and figuratively, then it's okay to have maintenance sex. And it's actually probably going to help your relationship. So bringing that back to the question, like how do I avoid intimacy feeling like an obligation and unintentionally creating resentment for the lower desire partner? Just be really honest with each other about when you feel pressured or when it's coming from a place of obligation. And if it is that way, do not push it further. Talk to your partner and say, instead of saying, hey, will you have sex with me tonight? Because that feels like a lot of pressure. Say, hey, I would love to have sex with you tonight. Are you open to starting something slow and seeing where it goes? And that gives them the chance to say, you know what? I'm open to being close tonight, but I'm not open to sex tonight. Or for them to say, you know what? I'm not really in the mood right now, but I am feeling open. Like, I'm not opposed to that. I'm open to seeing where it goes. Because with responsive desire, that's often how desire kicks in, is you start something and then you're like, oh yeah, I like this. This feels good. I want to do more. But you have to be very clear with each other that when you've said, no, not tonight, the other person doesn't push it. Next question, how do I balance wanting to make my partner happy because I love him, but often not wanting to have sex? I just want to know, like, the wanting is generous, it's beautiful, and I'm glad that you want your partner to be happy, but do not let that cross into the line of people pleasing, because that is where the resentment is going to grow and fester. So I would think about your partner as a full human, not just someone who wants to have sex. And there are plenty of ways that you can make him happy that don't involve giving up something so vulnerable and so precious to you as sex. And so one conversation to have with him is, tell me all the ways that you feel really, really loved that aren't sex. And that way, on days when maybe he is more in the mood and you're not, but you're not going to compromise on something so important, you can kind of go back to that list and think, look at all these ways that I could show him love that are different than sex, but still really meaningful to him. Choose something from off that list and do that instead. I do not recommend having sex with your partner just because you want to make them happy, even if you're not into it. That is different than going into it thinking, you know what, I'm not in the mood right now, but I could be in the mood and I'm open to it. Those are two different things. If you know you don't want to, don't do it. It's not worth compromising on that. Okay, here's another question. I have responsive desire. He's spontaneous. How do I match him? So for this person, I would really start by identifying what are your accelerators. So accelerators are things that help you feel turned on, aroused, get in the mood, etc. And a lot of times they are very different than someone with spontaneous desire. Okay, spontaneous desire is you could be doing the most random thing and be like, oh, I would love to have sex right now. As a responsive person, identify what your accelerators are. Is it having a clean house? Is it a lot of compliments? Is it 30 minutes of physical touch before you start to feel it kick in? Really identify what those are and then talk about this with him. Say, it may seem like I'm lower desire than you. I really don't think I am. I really just think there are certain things that help me warm up and help my body and my brain get in sync and feel like I'm ready to have sex. So have a conversation about how you can improve your foreplay. Because the truth is, it's not fair for him to just be suddenly turned on and expect you to be ready. You need to talk about this together, create a plan together to incorporate more of your accelerators into your sexual routine so that you both feel a little more excited about having sex with each other more often. All right, this next one is really important. It's about communication. So how do we talk about our desire mismatch without it turning into blame or shutdown? This is one of the biggest mistakes that I see couples make, is that the high desire partner thinks that there's something wrong with the low desire partner. They say, you're cold, you're shutting me out, you promised one thing and aren't delivering. Like all these negative character statements about this person. And then the same thing happens on the other end. The lower desire partner thinks there's something wrong with the higher desire partner. They start to say things like, you are gross that you want so much sex. You're objectifying me, or you have a sex addiction in extreme cases. And I'm not saying that those things don't exist, but oftentimes words like that are used in a hurtful way because the lower desire partner is just feeling pressure and maybe some shame and guilt for not being able to meet what they think their partner's needs are. And so they turn it back around on them and blame the other person. So either way, both partners end up blaming the other person and saying, there is something wrong with you for the amount of sex that you want to have. That's the first thing I would tell you to shift. Really shift your mindset. There is nothing wrong with you if you are low desire or high desire. We're all different. We all have different relationships with sex and intimacy. We all have different hormone levels. We all have different everything. And so please don't tell your partner that there's something wrong with them, because that is immediately going to shut down the conversation and you are not going to get anywhere. So instead of leading with that criticism or global statements like you always want this or you never want this, I want you to lead with curiosity. How have you been feeling about our sex life recently? And more than that, how have you been feeling desired by me recently? How have you been feeling rejected by me recently? Just really be curious with each other. Have a conversation that's really open. If this is a topic that you know is a trigger for both of you, I would sit down together, come up with a list of questions that you want to ask. 5 questions. About how you felt rejected, how you felt desired, when was a good sexual experience lately, etc., etc. And then write down your answers to these 5 questions in a very non-blaming way. Just really be open and honest about where you're at and what you're feeling. Swap papers, read through the other person's responses, and then sit with it for 30 minutes, an hour, a day. You don't have to have the conversation right away. That can be a way to feel like you can really share openly without immediately having a heated, charged conversation. After you've sat with it, then think about what they wrote and ask some more questions. Hey, you wrote this. Tell me a little more about what that means to you. And the conversation will go a lot better than if you just jump in with blame or criticism or anger. One more recommendation is that if it feels tricky, kind of like the paper is like a third party, use another third party. Use the Paired app. In there, we have so many different games and quizzes and question packs all about sex and all about intimacy. And it's so nice to have someone else asking the question because it takes the pressure off the relationship. It's like, oh, the therapist is asking us this. That feels very different than, oh, my partner is interrogating me about this. So use a third party like Paired, and that can make having these conversations a lot easier. Okay, finally, how do I know if this mismatch is a phase or a deal breaker? Look for patterns. Has it always been this way, or is this a new thing? If it has always been this way, that may be a sign that things aren't really going to change no matter what you try, and you might have to rethink the relationship. If this is a new thing, it's probably situational. We have a whole nother video about the reasons you're in a sexist relationship. Watch that video and go through the list. What could be the reason for this desire mismatch right now? Again, that's if it's a new thing, because a lot of times it's just situational and you just have to understand the root cause and then you can fix it. And then one more thing is deal breakers oftentimes come down to the unwillingness to engage more than the actual frequency. So if your partner won't talk about it, shuts you out, won't turn towards you, won't give you hugs, these are more like an unwillingness to even engage with the topic, versus if they're trying and they're talking and they're going to therapy and it's not helping yet, but you are both invested and willing, that's a sign that you can work through this. It just may take some time and effort. Okay, that was a lot. Those were really good questions. I want to just reiterate, there's no perfect desire match. There's not one right way to stay connected in your relationship. And the goal shouldn't be to become the same, but to stay curious about each other's differences and build something that's intentional. So if this video sparked something for you, maybe a conversation that you want to have, or just the sense that you are not broken, I hope you'll take the next step. The Paired app makes these conversations way easier. With expert-backed prompts, guided check-ins, and quick daily tools, it helps you get closer without being this big, heavy thing. The link is in the description if you want to give it a try. And if you liked this video, the Q&A format, please leave a comment and let me know which question hit home or what follow-up topic you want me to cover next. See y'all later.